Once again for the MotoE class, and after drama struck in the first race of the day here in Assen, what more awaits us in the following 7 laps? Twisting and turning, this place favours the brave, and with battles like what we saw earlier in race 1, you can bet your bottom dollar we're headed for another chicane showdown right now. It's go time for MotoE. Hello, I'll try not to say so and hello in the same word on that one. So hello and welcome to Assen for the final time for the MotoE class as we go racing for race number 2 here. Well, it's quite a few races now that we've had in the MotoE World Championship, and certainly there are still some important ones coming up. But as you can see here, the conditions in Assen are decently toasty, it has to be said. The track temperature is perhaps warmer than many of us expected it to get to today, so whether that provides any sort of issues with grip or tyre wear throughout this race, we shall see indeed. But 24 degrees C ambient, certainly not too bad at all. But as we do say, just that track temperature starting to get up there. So it's Jack Gorse there in the commentary box with Neil Morrison alongside as ever, and down on the grid is Elliot York, and we'll be speaking to him very, very shortly indeed as he's going to hunt out some of the riders that we could do with talking to after that first race, because certainly quite a dramatic race indeed. But of course, after that first one with Hector Garzo, I believe that Elliot is down there with him, or perhaps Lucas Tolovich. But anyway, Elliot, over to you.
Yeah, I'm down with Hector Garzo on the front row of the grid. Hector, race 1 winner. How are you feeling headed into race 2?
Well, let's see what's happening, because now it's a little bit more hot. After the MotoGP race, it is more rubber on the track, so let's see. I think we should be clever, try to think on the championship, and we should see how it's going. After the first lap, we will know it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks to Elliot there, and also to Hector Garzo. Interesting, Hector immediately pointing to the conditions, that it is much hotter than it has been for most of the day here. Actually, when myself and Elliot went for lunch earlier, we just noticed how intense the sun had got, really. It wasn't too hot ambient temperature-wise, but we knew that the sun would be baking the tarmac and definitely making a difference for the second race here this afternoon. And you wonder, Neil, whether it will throw up a different surprise, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder how those conditions will affect the running out there. We're going to pass back down to Elliot because he's managed to grab hold of Lucas Tolovich. He'll be starting from 7th on the grid.
Down here with Lucas, it's been a heroic weekend so far for you, Lucas. Top 10 in qualifying again in the race. How are you feeling after race 1 and headed into race 2?
Yeah, obviously the painkillers make it possible for me, and I have to thank all my doctors back in Germany and the Klinika, the guys from the health center. They helped me so much during the weekend, taping me, giving me painkillers, treatments and all, to be able to ride. And obviously this weekend we got to make the maximum from it, not at 100% for sure, but yeah, trying my best to give a solid result for the team, taking home some points, and then getting more fit and pain-free for my home GP next week.
Have a good one, Lucas.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Elliot, and thanks as well to Lucas Tolovich. Just the fact that he's on the grid is a heroic feat this weekend. Never mind the fact that he came from, I think, about 12th or 13th on the first lap of race 1 today to fight through to 8th. And of course, a huge weekend coming up for Lucas next weekend when we go to the Sachsenring. 2 races in 2 weekends, just like we had in Barcelona and Italy. And then we'll have just 2 rounds after that in the second half of the season. We are already past the halfway point in this year's MotoE World Championship. And, well, just when you think the championship is going one way, it decides to go another, with both Casadei and Kevin Zanoni, 1 and 2 in the championship, failing to score decent points in race 1, both being taken out in race 1, with Zanoni falling foul of Eric Granado move on the final lap of race 1. Eric has been handed a long lap penalty for irresponsible riding. That was the verdict of the FIM stewards. So 1 long lap penalty for Eric, and he's not the only rider with a penalty coming into this race, Jack.
No, not at all. The other big dramatic event in that race was right at turn 1 on the very first lap, with Mattia Casadei, the then championship leader and of course reigning world champion, being tagged from behind by Andrea Mantovani, who was just braking too late, a little bit too eager to dive down the inside of a few riders, tagged the rear wheel of Casadei, and both of them went down. And it has resulted in Mantovani being handed a double long lap penalty for this second race of the day here. So certainly not what Manto would have wanted. You can just see him in the background there. There is Lukas Tulovic. You can see that wrist all taped up, freshly operated on just a couple of weeks ago. Spent his birthday actually recovering, did poor old Lukas Tulovic. So yeah, not the best way for him to turn 24 years old.
Yeah, we cannot overstate just how badly injured Lukas Tulovic was 3 weeks ago. A punctured lung, among many other things. Wrist injury as well. Bit through his tongue, I think, was another nasty injury. So he really has been in the wars, the German, and he's looking remarkably well considering what he's come through. And good to see a lot of fans that were here for the MotoGP Sprint have stayed behind for the second MotoE race of the day. Well, if you saw the first one, obviously you were going to stay for the second one, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely, because the first one was an absolute cracker, going right down to the final sector. As always here in Assen, it seems that it's just a given that we go right down to the Geerttimmer chicane. On the final lap, there is Mattia Casadei, a stern look on the number 40's face there, and not too much of a surprise for that, because of course that incident in race 1, and then again here, going to have to start from 9th once more. Going to be looking for cutting out any of that trouble, and perhaps maybe he'll be a little bit safer, or maybe it'll even make him go even more aggressive down into turn 1 and find a bit more space for himself, but we will see. What it has meant though is Mattia Casadei's lead in the championship, despite Kevin Zanoni crashing, was cut. Will it be cut here again in race 2? We're about to find out. Okay, so here is the grid for the second race, the final race for MotoE here in Assen, and it once again is Alessandro Zaccone starting on pole. Will he finally be able to pick up that first victory in 3 years this time? Let's see. We don't want to talk about it too much, because it seems the more we talk about it, the more it just gets closer and closer to happening, and eventually not. Massimo Roccoli there in 12th. He did a fine job coming through to top 7 in that race, and also Oscar Gutierrez surging through from 11th, middle of the 4th row to that podium. Fine stuff indeed. Chaz Davies there, he clinched a top 10 last time, just earlier on. And Maria Herrera this time won't have any long lap penalties to go through, so definitely a better one for her this time round.
Yes, and I think we can pass back down to Elliot, who's on the grid with the team manager of Mattia Casadei, who obviously suffered that misfortune in race 1. Elliot, take it away.
Yeah, just spoke to Lucio off the record just as we were walking off the grid. So obviously Mattia Casadei had that crash in race 1, asked him if it was all okay injury-wise, and Lucio said, yeah, all okay, just obviously very frustrated with what happened, but obviously the crash for Zanoni as well helped out in terms of the championship. So no worries injury-wise for Mattia Casadei, which is good news heading into race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It will, of course, be a big disadvantage, the fact that he's lost 7 laps of experience in race 1. Obviously, we know that these MotoE sessions through Friday are pretty short. So the fact that Casadei missed out on those 7 laps in their entirety pretty much means that he'll be going into this race a little bit blind. It's a big old ask, isn't it, for the championship leader to come through from 9th position, but certainly Oscar Gutierrez showed in race 1 just what can be done from 11th. Oscar Gutierrez coming through 11th to a fantastic 3rd, and we'll definitely have to keep our eyes peeled on rows 3 and 4 off the grid for both those riders coming through. Hopefully drama 3 through turn 1.
Right then, gents, really quickly, prediction time. Who are we going to say this time round? Elliot, do you want to go first this time, perhaps, seeing as we let you go last time?
You're giving me the honours, thank you very much. I'll happily go first. I'm going to go for the double for Hector Garzo. He looks so good through the last section of the track where it matters most coming into the chicane as well. So I'm going to stick my neck on the line and go for the race 1 winner.
Not bad, I like it. Good point as well about the last sector indeed. Neil?
Zaccone.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to say Zanoni. I think he's going to do it in recover after that disappointing race 1. Let's see. So under starters orders then, the green flag waves at the back. Watch the lights at the top of the board there. They are red. They'll be going off now, and we are firing underway here for race 2 in MotoE. Once again, it looks as though Kevin Zanoni on the outside of the front row has got a brilliant start. He sweeps across Hector Garzo, the race 1 winner's nose, and just about holds off from Zaccone too. Or does he as they come through turn 2? No, it is indeed Zanoni that gets the whole shot, with Zaccone, Garzo and Torres with a a better jump this time round. He holds his 4th place grid slot.
Yeah, much better start this time around for Jody Torres. Mattia Casadei made it through turn 1 without any drama. Thankfully, Lucas Tulovic has had a decent start as well. You can see Mikel Pons there trying to go up the inside of Casadei, the championship leader. Casadei getting a little bit sideways coming out of Distruben, and onto the back straight it is then. Zanoni from Zaccone, then Garzo, Torres and Granado.
Check on your 3rd place podium finisher last time, Oscar Gutierrez. He's already up 1 spot into 10th as we see Zaccone being brave, hanging it around the outside and diving down the inside into Steckenval. That's a brilliant move
Spinelli's
from
crashed.
Zaccone. Oh, I missed that in the background. Where did he go down? Did he go down through, it must have been through the Ruskin hook.
Yes, Spinelli then has had his 2nd crash of the day. The former championship leader and championship contender has had another absolute nightmare here at Assen, and it's a turn 7 crash for the Italian. You can see he's gone down at great speed. Thankfully, he's up and walking away, but very, very gingerly. So real mixed fortunes then at turn 7 for the Tech 3 team.
Blimey, an absolute disaster then for Spinelli. That's the 2nd round on his 2024 sheet now that has 2 DNFs in it. A total disaster. But as we do say on the other side of the Tech 3 garage, it's glory for now for Alessandro Zaccone as he smokes his right boot, getting it stopped into the Timmer chicane. Somehow Eric Granado, oh no, it's just his long lap penalty. I thought he was already getting a track limits warning. Yeah, that is going to be one that Eric is going to have to take. He's got some space behind him actually, so I wonder if he'll do it now as Garzo pinches through on Zanoni once again, but the 21 isn't giving up and he fights back through turn 2.
Yeah, good stuff this from Zanoni. It's really playing into Alessandro Zaccone's hands. You can see his gap is now above half a second. Eric Granado is now going to be able to take his long lap penalty as Garzo dives under the inside of Kevin Zanoni down into Distruben. Super stuff once again, but all this fighting for second is just playing into Zaccone's hands out front. His lead coming through the first split on lap 2 is over 1 second.
Yeah, wow, Jordy, careful on that. You do not want to be going onto the grass there on the back straight. That's incredibly fast through there. Some 250 kilometres an hour on these MotoE machines, but thankfully Jordy stays on and holds that 4th place position ahead of Eric Granado. Reminder, who will be having to take that long lap penalty. It seems as though Andrea Mantovani has already taken one of his, but he does have another to do. There you can see then Mattia Casadei back in 8th, only made up 1 place. He does have Oscar Gutierrez in front of him, and if he can latch onto the back of the 99, as he will surely surge his way through the pack again, that will do Casadei the world of good.
Yeah, Oscar Gutierrez, it's only a matter of time until he gets ahead of his teammate Mikel Pons as they come through turn 12, Moivenmeer. Towards the end of this lap, Hogeheide and Gutierrez tries to make a move, a dive under his teammate at Ramsuk. Yeah, penultimate turn on this track, and that would have been a brave move, but he thought the better of it. Zaccone is running away with this at the moment. Look at this for a lap from the Italian. He has absolutely blown the field apart. He's now 1.8 seconds ahead after setting the fastest lap time of the race. That is just 0.3 of a second slower than his lap for pole position yesterday.
Unbelievable. That's a new race lap record at least. Fantastic stuff then for Zaccone as Torres fights back on Granadi. Does he dive into the long lap penalty lane? No, not this time around. And what it has meant, all this battling in that big group for second, is that Pons and Gutierrez, the Axis MSI duo, are right on the back of them now. There you can see it, that 1:39.710. Zaccone has checked out. Unreal.
He has indeed. Obviously the battle between Garzo and Kevin Zanoni helped him somewhat, but he was 1.2 seconds faster than Garzo on that last lap, 1.3 seconds faster than Kevin Zanoni. So Zaccone really, if he wins this race, it will have been lap 2 when he pretty much made the decisive break. You can see we've got a bit of a Moto3 race here for second place. Hector Garzo obviously holding second, but that goes right the way back to what? Matteo Ferrari, who is currently 10th, so a 9-rider fight for second.
Yeah, incredible. What a train that is. An 18-wheeler for second place, as it looked as though Granado went a little bit deep there, and that is going to allow, is that Gutierrez sliding up the inside of his teammate Pons, taking advantage. Fantastic stuff then as he rounds Moivenmeer now, coming down into the final sector. And we've got to check the lap times this time round to see what Zaccone can do again, but he's definitely been pulling away through the sectors. He's picked up about half a second on the missed lap, and Hector Garzo's been at the front of this train the whole time. So brilliant stuff again from Zaccone as we see Torres going to work on his teammate, the 81 on the 21. Not this time round. The two Aspar team riders slide in together into the GT chicane.
Yeah, and Oscar Gutierrez will be pretty excited about his chances of getting a podium place again here in this race, maybe even a second place. Another fastest lap from Alessandro Zaccone, faster still at 39.632. His lead is now up to 2.6 seconds. He's in a class of his own in this race.
I don't want to say it, Neil, but surely Zaccone cannot throw this one away as Hector Garzo dives into the long lap penalty loop. It's certainly a long one here at turn 3 in Assen and completes that one with no problems.
Yeah, Eric Granado takes his long lap penalty. As you can see, as he now comes around Distrubin. So Granado then goes all the way back down from 5th to, where is that? 13th position it is for the Brazilian. So that's his chances of a podium finish unfortunately gone. You can see track limits for Mattia Casadei, who's currently in 8th. And great stuff once again from Lukas Tulovic. He's looking as though he's going for a move on Mikel Pons down into turn 8. Steckenval.
Those painkillers must be good stuff for Lukas Tulovic, because he's riding absolutely brilliantly out of his skin. We remind you just how injured he was only a handful of weeks ago with that big crash in Mugello, and doing a stunning job here, it has to be said. Lukas Tulovic, absolutely great work. Right then, back to this battle for second. I don't think this time round Garzo's made any inroads into Zaccone's advantage at the front either. It's 2.9 as they come through the third split, and in fact he's under pressure from all of them now as Jordi Torres goes around the outside of his teammate. But that's a brilliant move from the number 81, the veteran here in the MotoE World Championship. Is Zanoni going to fight back down into the Gate-Timmer chicane? Not this time round. So then, Torres, what can you do? Can you pick off Garzo, and can you even think about, with only 3 laps to go, closing down that, what is it now, 3.2 second lead that Zaccone has at the front?
Yeah, there's something seriously wrong with Alessandro Zaccone. He was only, and I say only in inverted commas, able to lap in the 1 minute 40.0s, but still he was 0.6 of a second faster than Hector Garzo last time around. Needless to say,
Torres.
Yeah, Jordi Torres makes a move into second. He was the fastest of this big group. And gaggle for second. You can see Gutierrez then goes into 4th underneath Kevin Zanoni at turn 5.
Whoa, a bit of a bobble there from Gutierrez. That sounded like someone went skating down the road.
Someone's
then.
down.
You can't quite see who it was in the background. Check the timing tower on the left-hand side. Who are we missing from this group? It might have been one of the riders at the back.
Oh, and Lukas Tulovic is now past Kevin Zanoni going down into turn 6. That was certainly a brave move from the German, who was up there into 5th.
I can confirm that the rider that crashed out was Chaz Davies, so a disaster then for the Brit. That's unfortunate, with him making a real step forward this weekend. Won't be able to see that progress throughout the rest of this second race of the weekend. Oh, and look at that. Once again, it's all clambering all over each other, isn't it? Torres, he's got to the front, but definitely not being able to break away just yet. And you've got to say, there is Chaz Davies just walking off. Glad to see that he is all okay, but you've got to say in this front group that the danger man, other than Hector Garzo, as he looks down the inside again, is the 99 of Oscar Gutierrez there as he fires through on cue up into 3rd place, and now surely will look about going to get past Torres for that P2 slot.
Yes, absolutely. The number 99, one of the danger men. The other one is the number 3 of Lukas Tulovic. Mattia Casadei making quiet progress, you would say, but still a little bit just back of Mikel Pons in 8th position. Zaccone's lead continues to stand at 3.4 seconds, so he's pretty much got this race won as long as he can keep it rubber side down on these final 2 laps. But the excitement, needless to say, is for second, and Gutierrez is now up into that second place. Incredible
work then from Oscar Gutierrez. Once again, another comeback ride for the comeback kid. 11th to second as it stands now, and Garzo, he loves that tight line at Der Strubben and employs it beautifully to pick off the number 81 of Jordi Torres, as I think he just flicks a tear off back. But all of a sudden, coming under threat from Lukas Tulovic, who's looking for a top 4 with a freshly broken wrist only a couple of weeks ago. Unbelievable stuff from Lukas.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. Garzo just moved there past second or into 3rd place there, right? Maybe under the yellow flag. I'm just wondering for Chaz Davies at turn number 5. We still have a yellow flag in sector number 1, so I'm wondering whether that might affect Hector Garzo.
That's a very good spot, Neil. I didn't see that one. That the yellow flag indicator was still there in the top left of the screen, so we'll see what shakes out with that one. Garzo, it's just popped up on our timing screens. He has to drop 1 position. Disaster for Hector Garzo with only 1 lap and 1 sector remaining. He's going to have some serious work to do, and he needs to see that notification on his dashboard board instantly. And look who he's got to drop it to as well. He's riding injured teammate Lucas Tulovic, and he does see it instantly. Great work from Garzo then to do that one efficiently and cleanly. But now, surely he's not going to deny Lucas Tulovic of an incredible podium and break his heart, is he?
Well, he is fighting for the championship, of course, so I think it is all fair in love and war. As we come across the line, you can see Gutierrez has immediately picked up the pace in this fight for second. He's managed to put 0.3 of a second into Lucas Tulovic just behind him. He's 1 lap away from a brilliant double podium, but can the number 3 hold off here in this fight for third? It looks as though that's what the attention is not going to be on. It looks as though Tulovic has main competition from Garzo and Torres. Kevin Zaccone as well, still in the mix in the fight for third.
Lucas Tulovic is only stored on a MotoE podium once, and it looked as though if the Garzo has anything to do with it, it's going to stay that way, and he's only going to stand on there once as we leave Assen. But the last time he did, and the only time he did, was when he won back in Austria in 2021. It's been a long old time since Lucas Tulovic stood on a MotoE World Championship podium, and if he's going to do it again, he's going to have to break out something incredible here and do it as well with a healing broken wrist.
Yeah, and we saw in the end of race 1 just how strong in the second half of this circuit Hector Garzo is. That's where he made the move on Zaccone for the victory in race number 1. You can see he's not exactly a million miles away from Oscar Gutierrez in second. He's about 0.3 of a second off coming through split number 2. I think he's a little bit closer than that now, and this is where Garzo is able to carry so much speed through these couple of rights that lead on to the back straight.
So surely then Hector Garzo will mount an attack on Oscar Gutierrez for that second place, but he also has to be careful of his chasing teammate, the number 3 of Lucas Tulovic, ahead at the front by 2.1 seconds. Zaccone has got this wrapped up, and surely he's going to take victory for the first time in 3 long years. There is the 61 as he dives into the GT chicane. Tulovic and Garzo aren't close enough. Gutierrez will take second, but it is Zaccone that wins here in MotoE for the first time in 3 long years. He was denied in Mugello, denied here earlier on today, but finally he's held on to the line and taken victory in absolutely dominant fashion. Zaccone is a winner in 2024.
Fantastic stuff from Alessandro Zaccone. He was so close at Mugello in the second race of the day. He was so close earlier today, and you have to feel he was riding angry in those opening couple of laps. He did all the hard work in laps 2 and 3, putting in some sensational times to really break apart the lead group and put a big amount of distance between himself and second position. And then it was just all about managing it from there. Super stuff from Zaccone. That has to be the most dominant performance we've seen in MotoE so far this year.
Yeah, we'll have to check the time gaps from this season in terms of victories, but I think that must be the biggest margin, surely. What was it in the end? It was 1.9 seconds, but of course it was out to about 3.5 at one point during that race. And I love that Zaccone's first job on the list to do on this cooldown lap was instantly to put it into wheelie mode, go and do some wheelies as we see him fly past on the rear wheel past Oscar Gutierrez, who, what a day for him after a bit of a disaster in qualifying yesterday. Comes from 11th to 3rd in the first race and now 11th to 2nd here in race 2. Stunning stuff from the rookie.
Yeah, brilliant stuff again from the number 99, and for a second race in succession you would have to say not ideal results for the lead 2 in the championship. Kevin Zaccone in 6th, Mattia Casadei in 8th. That really has allowed the likes of Zaccone, Gutierrez and Garzo to close right up in the championship fight. So, I mean, a dream situation for us watching and hoping that we're going to have a big championship shootout when we go to Misano for the final round in September.
Absolutely, and it's definitely looking that way. As you say, Neil, the championship chase, Casadei came into it 4 points in front of Zaccone, and it was Garzo and Gutierrez locked on 113 apiece, 19 back. Well, they've just taken a big old chunk out of those 2 ahead of them, Zaccone and Casadei, as we do say. So we'll check exactly what the totals are a little bit later, because there's no point relying on our maths. As we discovered earlier, we are quite useless as that. Oh, even more drama. It's just popped up on the time screens that number 21 Zaccone, 1 position penalty due to exceeding the track limits on the final lap. So that will drop him to 7th. So it'll be Zaccone 7th and Casadei 8th, with Pons promoted up to 6th. So a decent day there for Mikael Pons with 5th and 6th, but even more points lost in the championship chase.
Yeah, absolutely. That plays into this man's hands right now, Alessandro Zaccone. And well, to hear about just how happy his Tech 3 team is, Hervé Poncharal is with Elliot down in pit lane.
Yeah, just down here in the celebrations in Parc Fermé, just saying congratulations to the team. Then we'll grab a word. Hervé, an amazing win for Alessandro after 3 years. Finally, how are you feeling?
I feel so happy for Alessandro. You know, he's been with us for 2 years. This is the second year. And very often we've been close, but we never made it. And he's such a nice guy. He put so much into the project, the team, that I think nobody deserves that victory more than Alessandro Zaccone. So, very happy.
Hervé, congratulations.
Blessed by the Dutch sunshine.
We certainly are. Hervé, thank you.
Yeah, nice work, Elliot. Getting a word with Hervé Poncharal, who now embraces his rider. And it's a big, long embrace, isn't it? That is... It's a man very pleased with his rider's work. Great stuff as well from Oscar Gutierrez. It's been a great day once more for the MT Helmets MSI squad. There's Sergio Garcia, Moto2 Championship leader, down there offering up his congratulations to the MotoE side of the garage. And we just had confirmation, good spot there, Jack, that Kevin Zanoni has dropped 1 place from 6th to 7th in the championship, which means Gutierrez is 3rd, 4 points back of Zanoni in 2nd, and just 7 points back of Casadei in 1st. Garzo is now just 11 points off the lead, and Zaccone, coming into this round, 58 points back, is now 21. So he's still in the championship fight as well.
Oh man, it's spiced up again in the MotoE Championship chase. We were chatting after the last round in Mugello. Me and Neil were both like, well, it looks like this year might just be a 2-rider chase, but no, not turning that way at all. 5 riders all in there. Casadei with, you know, a really strong round last time out in Mugello, taking a 2nd and 1st, but then here just a bit of a disaster really. Of course, caught up in that luckless incident with Mantovani earlier in race 1, and then just there in the 2nd race. Maybe it's the, you know, the lack of having the full race distance in race 1 that just cost him a little bit of knowledge how to learn from race 1 to race 2 to go quicker, because certainly that's what Zaccone did. I mean, absolute rocket in that race.
Absolutely. And speaking of absolute rockets, Hector Garzo set his fastest time of the race on the final lap. It was good enough for 3rd place, and he's down in Parc Fermé with Elliot.
Yeah, he is. Hector, talk us through that one. Another podium, running off a good weekend here in Assen.
Yeah, thank you very much. It has been a really tough race. I really think that the fight with Zanoni didn't help us in anything. But well, Zaccone for sure did a really good race. He did really fastest laps. Later I should drop 1 position, I think, and I should let past my teammate. Little fight, so my front tire was a little bit suffering. So, but well, I'm happy. I'm happy because first race was good, and we save it now. It was really important to don't crash, to have points for the championship. But well, I think we did a really good job, and let's see what happened in Germany.
Cheers, Hector. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great day at the office for Hector Garzo, picking up his 1st victory of the season earlier, and another podium finish there. His 5th podium in 10 races so far this year. 50% podium rate for the number 4, and you could tell a little bit of frustration perhaps with Kevin Zanoni, because they're fighting, incessant fighting on laps 2 and 3. Really did let Zaccone escape off into the distance and allowed this rider right into the mix. Oscar Gutierrez has had a sensational day in Assen, 3rd in race 1, 2nd in race 2, and he's with Elliot.
Oscar, sensational after a disappointing qualifying yesterday to have 2 podiums on Saturday. You must be over the moon.
Really happy. I felt quite strong today. As I told you in the morning, I knew I had the base to be on the podium, let's say, and yeah, I was focused on myself. I say never give up, go for it. It's a sprint race, really short, but you know, lap by lap I was making good movements, good overtakes. Maybe I studied this on the PlayStation days ago. No, but yeah, really happy. Thanks to my team. Because you know, we are doing a great job this season. Race by race, we are there with them, and yeah, now focus on Sachsenring and try to go on the summer break with good feelings.
Top job, Oscar. Well done.
Thank you.
Great day at the office for Oscar Gutierrez, and he is right back in the championship hunt. It's a fabulous shot on the final lap through Moivenmere, part of the paintwork, you would have to say, for the number 99. And a great performance in that final sector as well. There's no point where he gave Hector Garzo a sniff. But the star of the show today was certainly Alessandro Zaccone, back a MotoE winner once again after 3 years in the wilderness, and he's with Elliot.
Yeah, here with race winner Alessandro Zaccone. Finally, after 3 years and 2 years with Tech 3, you've managed to win, and what a race as well. How are you feeling?
Well, it's super. I'm super happy. It's incredible to be back on top of the podium. Was perfect race. What I expected from Mugello. I take some gap. The bike was very good. The team did an amazing job, so I can ride very smooth. When I see that I had more than 3 seconds, I just managed the gap. But anyway, we deserve it. We had many difficult moments, and now we have to enjoy.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
There will be some big celebrations tonight in Assen or in Groningen, the city next to Assen, you have to imagine, for Alessandro Zaccone, and he deserves it after what was a brilliant display, the most dominant of the season so far, and a result that lifts him back into the championship hunt. 5 riders covered by 21 points with 6 races left to go. Jack, how about that?
Yeah, not bad at all, eh? I think the most surprising thing in the championship, though, is that Nicolas Spinelli, who picked up 75 points from the first 100 on offer this year, now only with 88 points. And Matteo Ferrari, who's been in the doldrums all season, is only 10 points behind him. There you can see I'm back. He absolutely is. He's been epic in the last handful of races. So he's done a real good job in clawing back those points and doing a fantastic thing. So Alessandro Zaccone it is that takes the win by 1.9 seconds ahead of Oscar Gutierrez and Hector Garzo. The same podium as in race 1 earlier on, just in slightly different order. Lukas Tulovic takes a brilliant 4th. Honestly, we can't say how impressive that is from the German as he heads to his home race next weekend, and thankfully a couple of days to heal up as well. Massimo Roccoli gets another top 10, doing a fine job as the old-board Supersport veteran, and Eric Granado down there in 12th. After taking that long lap penalty, 6.8 seconds off the win in the end, and a difficult day for the Brazilian and such a crucial time of the championship chase. And here is that championship chase. Somehow Mattia Casadei does still hang on to the points lead as we go on to Germany next weekend, but it is now only by 3 points, and then 7 behind is Oscar Gutierrez. Hector Garzo is just 11 back, and then Alessandro Zaccone now only 21 in arrears as well. A brilliant effort from him today after being 58 points behind coming into the day. There you can see Lukas Tulovic as well picking up some decent points and closing in on the top 10, 71 points off with 69 points in the bag. In terms of the team's championship, it is still the LCR-E team that are leading, but again, look at the gaps there. It's seriously close for the team's championship as well, with the Open Bank Aspar team only 3 back, and then 4 more points back from there. Tech 3E Racing, and certainly if Tulovic is on the form that he's showing now, as he has done in the last couple of rounds, to be honest. Obviously, Mugello, before he crashed, he was going incredibly quick. Then don't rule out the Intact GP team to make a run for that team championship either. So then, here we go for the podium ceremony, and it should be an absolute cracker for us as Zaccone comes out to take his first winner's trophy in 3 long years.
Yeah, just a quick one on Alessandro, gents. I spoke to him just before the Parc Fermé, so just asked him what the tyre consumption was like, because obviously he was setting a super hot pace at the front, then dropped his lap times towards the end, but he said he was just managing the tyre. So incredible pace from Zaccone in these conditions. It's super hot down here, completely different to what they were earlier on. So for him to not run out of tyre, even more impressive result for Alessandro.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to those observations, Elliot, as he jumps across and onto the podium. Giulio Di Simone hands out the trophy for 3rd place finish. Hector Garzo, maybe if that race had played out in a different way, he could have been up there fighting with Zaccone. As it was, he contents himself with 3rd. And super stuff for Oscar Gutierrez, who lifts the trophy for 2nd place.
And the winner's trophy will go the way of Alessandro Zaccone for the first time in quite some time. 3 long years. Jerez 2021 it was. It's the last time he held aloft a winner's trophy. But finally today is that day. Someone will have to do the calculation and how many days it has been. But it's certainly been a fair odd number. Time for the Italian national anthem. So a lovely rendition then of the Italian national anthem, as this time they can get a little bit silly with the Prosecco, and indeed they do. I'm sure that Alessandro Zaccone will be having a couple of alcoholic beverages tonight to celebrate a weekend's work well done. Of course, 2 pole positions on the bounce, some really strong results as of late, and finally he has got the monkey off his back. A victor again here in the MotoE World Championship for the 2nd time. So as you can see there it is. Once again, that victory going the way of Zaccone. Tulovic 4th. And you can't get over just how impressive that is after that big crash in Mugello only 3 weeks ago. Jordi Torres 5th. Definitely a better weekend for Jordi. And so too Mikel Pons up there in 6th as well. Kevin Zannoni demoted to 7th thanks to that track limit. And Casadei 8th. A real surprise to see the top 2 in the championship struggling here this weekend. Ria Herrera, Andrea Mantovani and Kevin Manfredi round out the points. Decent job this weekend from Kevin Manfredi as well, as he was riding injured too. Look at that, 21 between 5 as we've got 6 races to go. 3 more rounds coming up in the MotoE World Championship. This one seems like it's going to go down to the wire, as every time we think it's going one way, it decides to go and chuck in a different direction for us, just to keep the spice rolling on. Certainly going to be a good one. And in terms of the teams, definitely going to be a close one there, of course. Not the most important one, but certainly for the teams they'll be wanting to go ahead and win that one. Incredibly close there, 19 points between the top 5. It seems every weekend there's one team that kind of dominates and takes a big chunk out of the others. And this weekend as well, with Mikel Pons doing decently, Axis MSI have really closed in as well.
Well, here is the highlights of race 2 at Assen, and it was a brilliant start from Alessandro Zaccone. Thankfully, we had a clean first turn. Great start as well from Kevin Zannoni. The 2 Italians going into the first turn in 1st and 2nd. Eric Rinaldo made a decent move early on. As you can see, Lucas Tulovic was sitting pretty as well, but it was Zannoni from Zaccone. With Garzo, Jordi Torres was up there towards the front as well. And then how about this for a move from Zaccone? Full-blooded stuff down into turn number 8. Steckenval on the very first lap. And from there, he was off and away. Zaccone had pretty much checked out by this stage. And then we had a massive brawl for 2nd place, led by Hector Garzo at this moment from Zannoni. Jordi Torres was in the mix as well. And once again, Oscar Gutierrez coming through from 11th on the grid to join the fun. We had Garzo leading Torres at this moment. And Torres then went through to 2nd for a short period of time. Gutierrez coming underneath Zannoni as well at turn 5. And that turn was going to play a crucial part in the race that followed. Gutierrez managed to get his way up into 2nd position. And then Garzo made a move on Torres at turn 5. I think that was the moment when there were yellow flags out. So he had to relinquish the position to Lucas Tulovic towards the end of the penultimate lap. And then he retook his teammate at Distrubin the next time around. He then set off after Gutierrez ahead, but it was a bit too late. Zaccone managed to come home 1.9 seconds clear ahead of Gutierrez and Garzo to make it a 5-way fight in the championship. Just 21 points covering the top 5 names in MotoE. And that is it from Assen here. Stick around because we will be coming back with another 2 races at Sachsenring next week. You will not want to miss it.